A big welcome to everybody who is in so far. You should be able to see 3 screens at the moment up on your big screen. You'll see myself. I am Jo, Brooke, one of our consultants who's going to be cooking today. And you can also see an overview of the Thermomix. So as we cook, you'll be able to see sort of that closer up inside view. I'm just going to give it 1 minute until we get to 7:30 before we jump into it. But I wanted to welcome you all in. If you are new to Zoom, please have a look around your screen now and see if you can find a little chat box. So on your screen, you should all have a microphone. Yours will have a red line through it, so we can't hear what's going on at your end. Then you should have a stop and start video. Now, I would love for you all to be really brave and turn on your videos if you haven't already. I know it might not look any different from where you are there, but for us, it is so nice to talk to people instead of blank screens. We love to see your expressions throughout and, engage with you a little bit more, even though it is through Zoom. So please, if you can, pop those cameras on for us. And so beautiful. I love them all coming on. Now, you should all have either a chat box or a more button or something similar. You might have 3 dots in a line. That is for our chat box. Now, because we have lots of people on, what we do is use that chat box to communicate. So any questions, any comments, anything you want to add in or you're not sure about, use that chat box, and then we can just have a nice conversation going throughout. So if you can find that chat box now, I would love for you to pop in there where you are zooming in from tonight. Whereabouts are you around Australia? Or if you're not from Australia, if we have any global customers on, I'd love for you just to pop into that chat box whereabouts you're zooming in from. I'm going to give you a second to do that. Fantastic. You're all finding that. Beautiful. Awesome. So I'm the team leader for the Life Changers. So we are based sort of around the mid-coast in New South Wales. I look after all of the consultants in the area, and Brooke is one of our consultants based out at Foster, and she's going to be cooking with you guys as well tonight. So what we wanted to do is really give you some quick midweek meal inspiration. Whether you don't yet have a Thermomix, if you are looking at getting one, or maybe you've had one for ages, everybody gets in that stalemate of we're busy, we're all out of time, we have kids' sports, we have things going on, and you get home and you just need something for dinner. And it might be that you just can't think of anything and the family's all pestering you. What are we going to cook? What are we going to cook? What are we going to have for dinner? Or it might just be that you're always short on time and you end up just grabbing takeaway or just throwing on something really unhealthy because you just don't think you've got time to make anything else. So what we wanted to do is just give you some midweek inspiration to help make those weeknights run a little bit easier and a bit smoother. Now, if you're wanting to meal plan and do all of that sort of thing, that is sort of a whole other kettle of fish, and that's maybe a Zoom we can run if that would be helpful for you. But tonight we just really wanted to jump in and give you some inspiration. So what we're actually going to do is cook 3 dishes. So 3 dishes. We're going to try and do this in under an hour. So it's going to be really, really, really quick. If you're feeling like you're getting confused with what are they cooking where, please let us know and we can slow it down and we can, let you know. But we really want to just try and jam as much as we can in. And then what we're going to do near the end is actually jump into Cookie Do and show you a little bit around how to find these quick recipes, because you can actually filter your searches in Cookie Do to suit your dietary needs, to suit how long you have to cook, ingredients, all of that sort of thing. So we're going to show you how to jump in there and do that before you hop off tonight. So with that being said, I am going to throw over to Brooke. If you want to introduce yourself and get us started with our first dish.
Thanks, Jo. Did you want to do your thermo server stuff first or? Yeah.
Yes, I will. So before we start the first one, who here has a thermo server? I want you to put a 1 in the chat box. I'm going to grab mine in a second. Mine are full of water, but you'll see them in a sec. They are nice, big, silver, round or oval bowls with a black lid, black base. One. Fantastic. Lots of you do. Pop a 2 in there if you don't have one. Yeah, you can see Brooks there. Beautiful. That's our round one. Some of you may have black ones on their way if you've bought the black limited edition. These thermoservers are worth about $150 each. The reason being they can do so much more than just keep your food hot or cold. So what I'm going to do is show you guys really quickly how to cook rice and how to cook pasta in your thermoservers. So I'm just going to get these 2 things started now, and then we're going to jump over to Brooke. We're going to come back. We'll show you how they look, and then I'll get in and cook the mains. So my 2 meals are going to be bulked right up just by using my thermoservers to cook the pasta and the rice. So if I move these things over, I'm going to bring you in nice and close so you can see. This is the black limited edition Thermomix. In this, I'm going to get our rice started. So I have about 500 grams of water in here so far. Now, I love to season my rice with a little bit of veggie stock. You can use salt, you can use whatever you would like. You can use a meat stock, but I love just a little bit of veggie stock. You can add some olive oil in here as well, which I love to do, just a little tiny bit. And then you want to pop in some rice. So the increments here are about half rice to water. So I'm using 250 grams of white basmati rice to 500 grams of water. I'm just going to tear that back to 0. I've weighed and rinsed this rice first. You should always rinse your rice before you use it. A steaming basket's great for that. Now I'm just going to pop my lid on. And just to get this started, I'm going to cook this here for 5 minutes. I'm going to use the Varoma temp, and I'm just going to go to speed 1. What that's going to do is just start the cooking process on the rice. Now, what's really important is that you have your thermoserver with boiling water in it right now, getting hot. So mine is over there on the sink. It is full of boiling water, and it is staying piping hot. When this is finished at 5 minutes, I'm going to tip that mixture out and into my thermoserver, pop on the lid, and leave it for 25 minutes. I'll show you the result at the end. Now, your pasta is even easier. I have 2 liters of water in this bowl, and I'm just going to pop this on to kettle mode. You guys probably can't see that very well from here, but on your TM6s, you have a kettle mode. You swipe across, you hit kettle and turn that wheel, and you will get that water boiling away. Once that's boiled, I'm just going to pour that into my thermoserver, add my pasta, again, your stock or your salt, whatever you want, pop my lid on, and it will just cook in whatever the packet instructions are. So mine is about 10 minutes, and that will have both my rice and my pastas on and cooking, and I won't need to come back to them until the rest of my dinners are done. So that is my little bit. We're going to jump over to Brooke now, and she's going to get our first meal going.
Thanks, Jo. Hi, I'm Brooke. I'm from Foster. A few of you know me there, so hello, everybody. Really quick option we're doing tonight. It's called the Silver Beet Quiche with oat and parmesan crust. It's a vegetarian, and who thought in about 20 minutes you could make a quiche, crust and everything. So we'll get started. So you put your oven on to 180, and the pink fluted tin from the mix shop isn't quite big enough for this, so I'm using a spring based one, and I've greased that. Now this is the crust. So you can see just almonds, sesame seeds. So not a standard pastry. Rolled oats. So the rolled oats are the only thing that aren't strictly gluten-free, but some people can still have them. Parmesan cheese. Some salt. Put our lid on. This is going to be a little bit noisy. It goes for a minute, so I might just mute for a minute, Jo, if you're there. Oh, that's okay. So a minute at 9.
Beautiful. I am still over here. I just have my spotlight off for a second. There we go. Beautiful. So you guys are watching Brooke cook at the moment. I would love to know from you guys, have any of you ever made a quiche in your Thermomix? Have you ever done it conventionally? Or have any of you ever had a crack at doing this in your Thermomix already? Love for you to pop that into the chat box.
Sorry, we've got about 20 seconds to go. But it's a pretty quick pastry.
We've got quite a couple that have never done it in the Thermomix before. This one does sound delicious. Oh, no pace. Beautiful. Well,
Okay,
you guys are going to be mind blown tonight.
All right, so all from those ingredients we put in, now we've got this nice flour. Got a bit warm in there from crushing that all up. So you've milled your own flour. So now we just put in 80 grams of water. And we'll just mix it up. 5 seconds, so 1 minute and 5 seconds to get your base done. So it wants us to put this into the tin and allow it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes because the grains will keep soaking up that liquid we've put in. So I'll show you what it looks like. It's really sticky, this pastry, but it stops being so sticky after a little while when you give it that little bit of resting time. Stuff flying everywhere. Here we go. So that's what it looks like at the moment. We'll give it the 5 to 10 minutes and we'll start cooking the filling straight away. We get a second bowl. They're handy to have, aren't they, Joe? So the mixture will be sticky at first, but should dry out slightly after 5 to 10 minutes. And I always spread it out with wet hands. Okay. I've got a, sorry. All right, I'm going to start cooking the next bit. So we're going to add some garlic.
This is just my rice over here. So I've just poured that boiling mixture into my thermo server and popped my lid on. I'm going to leave this now for 25 minutes.
Some red onion. I love this because it's all ingredients you have at home usually, nothing fancy. Some olive oil, 2 tablespoons. Does everyone measure their olive oil or do you just throw it in like I do? You can change and the 3 little dots, if you press that and go to your scales, you can weigh in your olive oil. If you don't want to get a tablespoon out, you can weigh in 20 grams is a tablespoon. So we've got 3 minutes and 40 seconds here of cooking. I'm just going to spread out this dough now so you can see it. So I've wet my hands and it doesn't stick. But you see you get quite a good base. And that goes in the oven for 7 minutes while the other ingredients are just sauteing. Has anyone got a good pastry recipe that they like to make on Cookie Doo? There's a great gluten-free one. I know Tamara, she's on there. She's celiac, and it's called gluten-free short crust pastry. I think it's from American Cookie Dough. And Joe might talk to us about that later, about making sure we've got our filters right on Cookie Dough to get recipes from all over the world, not just from Australia. If you're finding that you're not getting all the recipes that people are talking about, it might be a problem with your filters. Sorry, we're nearly there. Now I'm thinking this tin's too big. It's fine. So here we go. You get base, and we just put that in the oven for 7 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 7 minutes. Sorry, there we go. So we've got 1:30 left on the onions and garlic. Is there any questions in the chat box anyone has?
Sorry, Brooke, can you just tell me what it was called again?
Sure can. It's silver beet quiche with oat and parmesan crust. Almond pastry. I haven't tried that one. Very good. It doesn't have much. Oh, no, you go, Joe.
I'm just popping my pasta in here. So I'm putting my spiral straight into here. This is already nice and hot. Same thing with my stock. I'm just going to use a little bit of veggie stock. I love a little bit in with my pasta. And then I'm just going to pour this boiling water straight over the top. I did about 2 litres. Don't quite need all of it. And then same deal with this one. I just put my lid on. Now this one will only need about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to set a timer for 10 minutes. My rice needs 25, so it takes a little bit longer.
We got 8 seconds. So all we're doing here is sauteing the vegetables. We had the mushrooms and the spinach in next. We've just got our onions and garlic. Smells delicious. So some thyme from the garden, mushrooms. Sorry, we've got another 4 minutes of cooking there to do. So if anyone has any questions for me or Joe, now's a good time. Does everyone, oh, I was going to ask something then and now I've forgotten.
Well, we've got a few minutes here. Oh, we've got a question here. The start of the rice instructions. So the start of the rice, Tennille, I just popped in half rice to water. So 250 grams of rice, 500 grams of water. I use my rinsed rice and I put a bit of veggie stock in and I cooked it in the Thermomix 5 minutes on varoma temperature speed 1. Then I tipped it into a piping hot thermo server to leave it for 25 minutes. That is the rice. Really, really easy. Now, my screen you cannot see as well as Brooks, so I apologize. But I am making tonight a creamy chicken and chorizo pasta. So I'm just going to get started with the first step while we're waiting here, and then we can have a quick swap back in a second to see what's going on over with Brooke. So first of all, for this one, you're just going to pop in a clove of garlic. I have that one here. If you have crazy busy afternoons, it might pay off to peel a whole lot of garlic and freeze it in individual cloves. And then when you need them, you can just pull them out. Then we got about 120 grams of onions. Again, I never measure my onions. I just throw in about 1 onion is close enough, and 30 grams of olive oil. And just like Brooke said, if you're a measurer, measure. If you're not a measurer, don't measure. Cook however you like to cook. I'm going to pop my lid on, and we're just going to give that a quick chop. I've also got a second bowl here. I'm going to use that in a minute. All right. Now we're going to give that a quick scrape down. I love this about a Thermomix. Like in 10 seconds, we've got dinner on. There's no sitting there and chopping it all up. That's it. Put the lid back on, and it's off and cooking. 5 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. And while this is going, this is a chance for you to get the rest of the stuff done. This is why this one just suits me right down to the ground. So while this is going, you get to slice up some chorizo. You could use bacon or something else in this too. It's totally up to you. And 150 grams of preserved roasted red peppers. I have used reserved tonight, but you could also use fresh, or you could just oven roast some capsicum. It's just because this one is from the UK, it's calling it preserved roasted peppers, but use whatever you really want there. And then what are we going to do next? We're just going to add them in when this one's finished. We're going to add in some paprika and get it back on and cooking. So literally within a couple of minutes, you've got your onion and your garlic cooking away. You've got your next couple of ingredients all cut up. You've got a second now to run to your pantry and get the rest of the stuff out that you need. And your dinner is totally on and underway. If you've done your thermoserver pasta like I have, you like your pasta cooking as well. If not, the recipe actually steps you through preparing a saucepan of hot water to get that pasta ready at the same time too. And this one is called creamy chicken and chorizo pasta. Is yours up to the next step, Brooke, or are you still waiting?
I got 9 seconds. We're just cooling down. Sorry.
All right, we'll jump back to you.
All we do here is we're going to add 2, 1. There we go. So here we go. We've got our veggies cooking. Going to ask us to add silver beet. I didn't have silver beet, but I have spinach. Everyone's got a bag of spinach in their fridge, don't they? Going a bit manky. No, mine's nice. I bought it today. But it's a good way to use it up if you've got it. I always give it a bit of a stir because it's so bulky to get it down there. This basically just wilts the spinach. While that's happening, I've got a minute, I'm going to grab my pie crust out of the oven. Normally I'd be a bit neater, but I was trying to be quick. But it works really well and it's very easy. You don't need to be afraid of this one. A lot of people get a bit worried about pastry, but this one's super easy. Chuck it in, spread it out. I thought I'd let you all know I did a recipe last night. You know how you always can sometimes have egg yolks or egg whites left over? I had 4 egg whites and I used a chocolate meringue recipe on cookie dough and they turned out perfect. I'll show you them when I next have a couple of minutes. So it says to transfer to simmering basket to drain excess liquid and set aside, but I'm not going to do that. There's not much liquid in this one. I think if you use silver beet, you might get some more liquid. I've made this a couple of times and it's delicious. All right, next step, 4 eggs. There. Some cream. Some nutmeg, salt and pepper. that a mix. Just 15 seconds mixing that up. The next step is to put your vegetables in there. Then we'll pour the egg over the top. So evenly spread the vegetable mixture over the crust. Here's the eggs. If you like a little bit more flavour, or if you didn't want to put salt and pepper, you could put your veggie stock in, like Joe is using veggie stock. And then the last step is some goat's cheese that we put on top. I just use the one from Aldi, delicious. Aldi has the best cheese. All right, done. So dinner's done. Put that in the oven and you've got a quiche made from scratch with your pastry and everything. So I'm just going to put that in.
I would love to know your thoughts in the chat box. Did you think it was possible? A quiche that quick, made from scratch? I wouldn't even know where to start with pastry if I didn't have the Thermomix, to be honest. I could remember my mum making it and rubbing the butter. What do you rub? The butter and the flour together, and doing all of her pastries from scratch. And I can remember them just being so time consuming. She always did them, did lovely, you know, homemade pies and things like that. But it would take her all afternoon. She would start cooking at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, you know, that's not a reality for myself. I don't know about some of you guys. Some of you it might be. For me, I've got 3 little kids. I've got a job. I've got other stuff going on. Don't have hours to cook dinner every night, but I want to eat food like this. There's only one solution.
Well, we started the Zoom at 7:30 and it's 7:56 now and dinner's in the oven, and you talked for a little while before I started cooking. So I think that's a quick option. Quick, healthy option.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to see a 1 in the chat box if you would try that. Oh, and not mention the cleanup, Kathy. You are so right. Yes. Beautiful. Pop a 1 in the chat if you would give that dish a go. I reckon it looks delicious. Now, my first step of my pasta is being done over here. So I'm just going to go next. We're going to add in these peppers and chorizo. They go in. Oops. We add in a bit of paprika. I love paprika. These are all of my flavors. About 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm going to say about that much. And pop our lid back on. And let that cook away for 3 minutes. So we thought that 2 wasn't quite enough. 2 wasn't quite enough inspiration for you. So we're going to show you a 3rd. Now, for this one, though, I'm going to need your imagination. So are you willing to use your imagination for me? I need some nods, if you will. Yes, yes. So I am cooking salmon, and I put salmon in my shopping order, and I picked it up this afternoon, and there is no salmon. So you're all going to imagine that the chicken I'm cooking is salmon, okay? Yeah? Perfect. I was so excited to cook salmon because I haven't actually done this dish properly before. And I thought, you know, this would just be the best thing. I was so looking forward to it. I even had a backup. My dad's been fishing lots because I've had my family up and they keep saying, come pick up some fish. There's so much fish here. I went there this afternoon and said, I've got no salmon. Can I get some fish? And they said, oh, actually, we ate it all. So I really have no other option than to use chicken. But chicken is actually a really good substitute for salmon because they cook in really, really similar times. And it's going to go really, really nice with this dish anyway. So I am making salmon with ginger sauce and spiced cashews. Have any of you guys ever made this before? No.
I've seen it on Cookie Dough and thought it looked very good.
Beautiful. I'm just going to take your second spotlight off of your Thermomix now, Brooke, seeing as you're not cooking it up. Beautiful. So it's just the two of us on. Perfect. There was no one there that has tried this. I'm just having a little look in the chat. No. Oh, yes, some have.
I think Cheryl said she has, yeah.
Cool. Now, my timer is going off, so my pasta is cooked. Let me get this off and just show you guys. Let's stop that there. My rice still has a little while, but my pasta. Now, just like cooking this on the stove, you still want to check it. Make sure it's cooked just to your liking. You might have seen all that steam coming off it there. It's really, really hot. I'm just going to pull a little piece out. Oh, and that's so good. Absolutely perfect. And it is the same thing. You know, you cook it too much, it'll go a bit mushy. Don't cook it enough, it'll be a bit hard. But you can see there, that is like it's falling apart. It is absolutely cooked. Perfect. So that is your thermoserver pasta. Did any of you know you could do that? And would that be helpful to you? This blew my mind as a mum with little kids, not having to have a boiling pot sitting on the stove. I can put this on my sink, totally out of reach. I can put it on the back of my bench, know that my kids are safe, and I still have pasta cooking. I can't do that on the stove because I have little creepy fingers. So blows my mind as a mum that I can do that. Let me just tip this water off so it doesn't keep cooking. And that's our first one. So if you have a thermoserver, make sure you are getting the use out of it. It is not just to keep your food warm. If you want to get a thermoserver, who knows how to do that? Pop it into the chat box if you know how you can get your hands on a thermoserver. You cannot buy them in the mix shop. There's a clue. If you know how to get one, pop it into that chat box. Now, my recipe here is just saying that while that last step was going, I can dice up my 400 grams of chicken. So this is really, really designed to just keep on moving through and doing steps, you know, while it is cooking away. Now we're going to add our prepared chicken in. So if you can't remember, I've got in here chorizo, garlic, onion, oil, paprika. Now I'm adding in about 400 grams of chicken. You could use thigh here if you prefer thigh to breast. It doesn't really matter. We're going to add in a bit of sea salt. I'm going to use a little bit of this. It's only 1/4 teaspoon, so it's only a tiny bit. Otherwise, you could use your veggie salt. Depends on what you prefer. Got my lid on, and that's going to go another 3 minutes. All right. Now I can see in this chat box, you guys all know what's going on. Hosting a cooking experience offer Jess buying a black Thermomix. Yes, if you are lucky enough to buy one, very, very lucky. There are often purchase deals where you can get yourself a thermoserver. But if you don't have one, you can host a cooking experience. You can invite a couple of friends to watch one of our Zooms. Lots and lots of ways to just chat with your consultant about the best option for you. Now, let's get started on this one because we're running out of time. All right. Now, this one calls for chili. I don't like cooking with chili because I've got lots of little kids and they don't like chili. So I always leave the chili out and then just cook everything for our liking. 3 centimeters of ginger. I leave most of the skin on my ginger because it all gets chopped so finely and well in your Thermomix, it really doesn't matter. 1 garlic clove, 1 spring onion. Now, I don't have a spring onion, but I do have these semi-little onions. So I'm just going to throw in a whole one of those. 2 sprigs of fresh coriander. I do not like coriander. Who here is a coriander fan? There will be some of you either love it or you hate it. Love it. Lots of fans. You go and add as much as you want into yours. I don't like it. Yeah.
All the coriander and chili here.
No. All right. I love this about your cooking your own recipes, right? You can just totally flip it and make it suit you. Isn't it good? I made a curry meatballs the other night. I was making my own curry powder, so I just left the peppercorns out. I left the chili powder out. My kids love it, and it is such a beautiful, authentic curry. but it's just not spicy. And I love that we can do that. I love that I can do that with this and I don't have to eat coriander. All right, we're going to chop this all up. It'll be a bit noisy. All right, now, I'm going to give this a quick scrape down. We're going to add in about a tablespoon of lemon juice or a tablespoon of lime juice. That'll scrape. Now, I freeze some lemon juice in a ice cube tray or in the little freezer pods when it's in season in winter. And then I've got lemon juice all year round. It's the best thing ever. Now, you've got about 2 tablespoons of honey. This is also one that you could make up. So if you're really time poor, you could just put all of these marinade ingredients into a bowl. And then when it comes up to actually cooking this, you can just be throwing containers full of stuff in rather than having to pull them all out of your pantry. Really comes down to just how time poor you are. That was our soy sauce going in. That was about a tablespoon. Lid on, and we're just going to mix all of that again for 2 seconds. Now, while that's going, back to this one. Next, we're going to add in, remember this was our chorizo chicken. Look at that all cooking. It looks beautiful. We're going to add in about 200 grams of double cream. I'm not a super rich person, so I'm going to just use a thickened cream. I actually often use just yogurt, so just one of my homemade Greek yogurts in my cooking as opposed to cream. I think this pasta will benefit from actually having, cream, but you could use a light cream here or a coconut cream if you want it to be dairy-free. Whatever's going to work for you. All right, and then we're going to put our lid on and let that just cook down. Now, while this is going, this is letting me know now. Go and put your pot of boiling water on and start to cook your 300 grams of pasta. Remember that we've already got ours cooked because we popped it into the thermoserver earlier. But if you hadn't, you could do it now, or you can go and pop your pasta onto the stove. That's got about 10 minutes left to cook. All right. If you've missed the name of this one, it is called salmon with ginger sauce and spiced cashews. That is the name of this one. There is quite a few different salmon recipes. Now we're going to transfer this sauce into a bowl and set it aside. There's your sauce. So much flavor in that. No bowl for me. I'm going to use my second bowl. How can you get a second bowl? Who knows the answer to that one? Pop it into the chat box if you know. Now we're going to pop in a tablespoon of olive oil. About a tablespoon of olive oil. Sushan peppercorns. Again, I don't want this spicy, so I'm not going to go and put a heap of peppercorns in. I'm just going to grab my pepper from over here. Oops. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of ground pepper in instead of actually using whole peppercorns in this. Remembering it's all about the flavors and how you want it to taste. So do what's going to work for you. Now, about a half a teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice mix. So that's going to go. I love this flavor, so I'll put a little bit more. 60 grams of raw cashews. You could swap these out for a different nut if you preferred, but it's that perfect little pairing of extra fat and protein in your dinner. A little pinch of sea salt, and I've lost my salt shaker. This is the thing with having 2 Thermomixes. You get all muddled up. You have stuff all over the kitchen. All right, and we're going to cook that. Just cook off that beautiful stuff up there. So going in that was, just so you guys know, we had pepper, olive oil, Chinese 5-spice mix, cashews, and salt. And that is just going to cook away, and then we're going to take it out and pop it to the side, and then we're going to get on and cook our chicken. Beautiful. Now, we've got a bit of time now, so I'm going to do a super, super, super quick jump into cookie dough. Now, what have we got? Now you guys know how to get a second bowl, which is awesome. So yes, you can host a cooking experience. Again, you can do this virtually. You can do it in your own home. You will get yourself a second bowl, blade, and lid set for whatever model you have for a minimum of $100 off, $250 off if one of your friends decides they actually want to add a Thermomix into their kitchen. So it is a pretty good deal. These are also out of stock at the moment in the mix shop. So it is the only way right now you can get yourself that second bowl. So pretty cool, a pretty cool option there as well. Now, while that is cooking, I've got 2.5 minutes to do this, so I'm going to do it super quick. Let me quickly get my cookie dough right. Okay. Now, I'm going to have a go at sharing my screen. If I'm a little delayed here, can someone please come off mute and let me know? Sometimes my internet doesn't cope with sharing screen, but I'm going to see if we can make this work. All right. I hope you guys can see my beautiful, beautiful. All right. So just before we do anything, some of you guys will be all across this, but if you are not, if you are new to cookie dough or you're not sure if you really know your way around it, jump up here onto your little photo icon, or you may have a little chef's hat, and go to preferences. These are your master filters. So you can go in here and select your cooking style. That isn't compulsory. You don't have to do that. That just helps cookie dough give you recipes relevant to you. This is what you do need to change. See, mine is open, all Thermomix versions, no accessories, but all languages, English language and all countries. Now, if you've just signed up to cookie dough or you haven't done this yet, yours will say down the bottom, country or region, Australia. That means you can only see Australian recipes. You need to actually go in and update this filter every time you search on your TM6. If we change this master filter in here and we go update filter, this will be changed across your entire cookie dough account. It doesn't matter if you're on your Thermomix, someone else's app, website. Whenever you're logged in as you, these filters will stay the same. So if you have a blade cover, click that box so you can see those blade cover recipes. If you don't have one, leave it blank. If you're bilingual, select your different languages here. But the important thing down here is that you don't have that box ticked. So untick it, free up your country, see everything around the whole world, and then save. That is the most important thing you can do in cookie dough if you have not done it yet. I hope you all followed. If you have a question, please pop it into the chat box or shout it out. Now, I've only got a few seconds, so I'm going to jump back into Zoom and then we'll jump in here and have a look at the filters during my next cook time. Did that make sense? Now I can see all your faces. Yeah, I'm just going to bring up me on the big screen again. Yeah, cool. Did any of you not have that done already? Because you'll only be seeing a really small amount of recipes if you didn't have that ticked. No, yeah, beautiful. Now we're gonna, whoa, that smells amazing. They have just been, coated in those spices and cooked. Oh, I love the flavor of that Chinese 5-spice mix. I've been cooking all sorts of things with it. Another winner, absolute winner, and it takes 45 minutes, is sweet and sour pork, straight off cookie dough. It is delicious. It is so quick and easy, and it tastes so much better than takeaway. All right, now without cleaning this mixing bowl, that is my favorite step to ever see. Leave your mixing bowl dirty, keep on cooking. We're going to put in there 500 grams of water. In we go, about 500 grams. Now, you know that if you're near the sink, you can just use the markers on the side of your bowl. You don't have to weigh it in. Now we're going to pop in our Varoma. Who loves their Varoma? Who doesn't use it? Pop into the chat box a 1 if you love it and a 2 if you don't use it. Be honest. Who loves it? Who doesn't use it? Well, lots of ones. That's good. That's good. There is some twos. 3. If you're not using it, please, please reach out to your consultant and get some help. This is such a good tool. You are missing out on half the stuff you can do with your Thermomix if you are not using your Varoma.
I had a lady at a cooking demo. She just bought the black 6, but she had a 31, and she sent her Varoma to the op shop and she didn't know how to use it. And then she saw the TM6 and is using it, and she's excited to use a Varoma.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, crazy. I have done cooking experiences purely just so that my customers can learn to use their Varoma. In fact, I have another one coming up in a couple of weeks. She has a TM5, so she's had it for about 4 or 5 years, has never used her Varoma. So we're going to go there. I am going to take my 6, get her 5 going, and we're going to do 4 dishes. Take about 2 hours. We're going to be there cooking for, but she is going to be able to see 4 different things made in her Varoma. Even if she only loves 2 of them, she's just discovered 2 whole new dishes to use her Thermomix and use her Varoma for. She's going to have a couple of friends there, and she's going to get herself a second bowl as well. So that's what a cooking experience is. It really isn't like a Tupperware party, just about learning a bit more about yours. So it's a really, really good way to do it. If you haven't done that yet, or that would be something you'd love, you can do it via Zoom as well. Either reach out to your consultant. If you don't have a consultant at the moment, pop something into the chat box now, and Brooke or myself can get a hold of you, make sure that you're in contact with someone who can look after you and do that for you. All right, now, this is where you all need your imaginations that you said you would use earlier. We're going to pop 1 salmon fillet into the Varoma dish, and then we're going to pop 3 salmon fillets onto the Varoma tray. They're very, I'm not a very good cutter of my fillets, but anyway, they're close enough. 500 and 600 grams. We're going to drizzle a little bit of reserved ginger sauce over them. So this is the one we first made in here. This was our ginger and our garlic and our spring onions. Now 1 to 2 tablespoons. I don't want to use all of this, but it smells so good. I'll do that on there. And I'm just going to make sure that I don't forget this one below. Now, does anyone know why you would be spreading it out like this, and why I don't just fill the whole tray up with salmon? It's really, really important. And if you said a 2 and you don't use your Varoma, you may not know why, or maybe that's why you don't like your Varoma. So if anyone knows the reason why we would be spreading that out, please pop it into the chat box. Yes, I love that. So many of you know exactly what you're talking about. Just so that it evenly cooks. That's exactly right. Everything with the Thermomix is step by step, so it's letting you know. Now we're going to arrange about 150 grams of courgette or zucchini battens, and then a bunch of broccoli, tender stem broccoli or broccolini, and we're going to put them around the Varoma, cover them with the lid and steam. So same thing here. I need to make sure that I've got some holes and I'm not just filling up my whole thing where no steam will get through. So I'm going to make sure that I put some on the bottom, I put some up on that tray, and I make sure there is still room for that steam to circulate. Now, we're also going to use bok choy in this, but we're not putting it in just yet because it only needs a tiny bit of time to steam. We're just going to add it in at the end. So that's my beautifully arranged salmon and veggies.
And look how much veggies you get in there, Jo. That's definitely enough for a family.
And you could do so much more. I've really just gone rough amounts. What I had, I used a bunch of broccolini, 1 zucchini. You could add heaps extra in here. That's going to steam for 6 minutes. Now, I'm going to have to sort of double check the cook time because I'm using fake salmon. I would sort of make sure that that's cooked. So just like you're cooking anytime, you want to just cut it open a bit, make sure it isn't raw inside, all of that sort of stuff. Now, we're back here to our pasta. This one also suggests if your chicken isn't quite cooked, just give it another 2 minutes. So this is our creamy pasta sauce. Isn't that amazing that we've just made a full pasta sauce And I've literally done about 2 minutes work for this dish. Like I think I would have had more trouble trying to open a jar of sauce than I would have putting this on, right? Tastes so much better, and none of those nasties. Now you're just gonna season the sauce and the sea salt, and you're gonna pour this over either your saucepan full of pasta, or in this case, sorry to lean right over in front of the camera, but in this case, our pasta here. This is the pasta that we made before. Now, if you're wanting to do something a bit low carb or a little bit more healthy, you could do 1 dish of pasta and 1 dish of zoodles or something similar like that. Even carrot and zucchini tagliatelle or anything like that. You can always still do the pasta for, your kids and that sort of thing. Now, the double cream in this would make it slightly thicker. So again, if you really love that thick, creamy, rich pasta sauce, then stick to the recipe, use that double cream. If you're more worried about, what's in it and having a lighter meal, then a light cream or even a coconut cream or something like that would be delicious too. And this makes a huge amount. Let me just double check. It says serves 4, but this is so beautiful and rich. This is absolute restaurant quality pasta here. Yum. Smells so good. How quick and easy was that? Delicious. And these chicken, you could cut that as big or as small as you wanted. You could add veggies into this. You could add beans and peas and all sorts of things you could do. What do you reckon? Give that a little sprinkle of fresh Parmesan cheese, fresh grated Parmesan cheese, and there is your beautiful creamy pasta done in not even half an hour. What do you reckon? Would you make this dish? Worth a try. I love it. It is worth a try. I love making different things I haven't made. That's actually a dish I haven't made exactly before tonight. I've done lots of similar pastas, but that particular one I haven't actually made. Did you know that I was winging it? Completely winging it. Probably. Friends made this for us and it's delicious. And it made you buy a thermo. That is really cool, Tamara. Absolutely love to hear that. All right, now while we have this last bit of steaming time, now you would all know that with your TM6, you've got the preview button. The next part of this is just to arrange my 150 grams of pak choy or bok choy in there. So adding that in right for those last couple of minutes of steaming, just so it only lightly steams, and then giving it another 5 minutes. I'll, of course, check that chicken and make sure that it's cooked before I pop that in. And then it's just ready to drizzle with the rest of the sauce and cashews and serve. Remember, I put on our thermoserver rice right at the beginning. Let's have a look at it now. I'm just going to grab a fork so I can fluff this right up for you. And my lovely addition of stock to the rice. Have a look at that. That is just fluffing up beautifully. What do you reckon? Does it look a bit gluggy through the screen? Because it's not really on this end, but that's looking a bit funny in the light. How does it look? You've never done it. And this is the same. If it's a little bit wet still on the bottom, I would just leave the lid off this now for the next couple of minutes, and it will just soak up the rest of that water and it'll be perfect. You really can't go wrong with this. If it's not quite cooked, to give it another couple of minutes. But as long as you have that water nice and hot right there at the beginning, as long as your thermoserver is heated properly, and your lid obviously needs to be sitting on nice and tight. You need to have it in a black base, because like a cold bench top, like this one, a stone bench top, will actually take a lot of the heat away. So keep it in its black base. 5 minutes of aroma temperature in here, and you're good to go. So there is your fluffy rice. Now, the beautiful thing about this is it's half rice to water. You can do more. I did 350 grams of rice to 700 grams of water on the weekend, and I did a huge big dish of it. It made so much rice. And it was awesome. It was like, you know, no time taken up. I was cooking in both my thermies. I got so much food smashed out, and this was just cooking away my rice over here. It was so lovely and fluffy, just like having a rice cooker, but you've got your thermo server. So get in and use them. The silicone clip-on lids, I would just be wary of whether they will hold the heaters in as well, because they are a little thinner in the middle. So my advice for these would be to use your black ones. I particularly like my round one probably more so than the oval one, because I just like it being sort of compact to cook my rice and pasta. But as you can see, this works just fine. And that has thickened up just in that minute while I've been talking. Probably can't really see this through Zoom, but any bits in there that were sitting in there a little bit wetter that could have dried out a bit, they have now. And that is just fluffy, beautiful rice now.
Jo, would you like to see this quiche that's made?
I absolutely would. Let me get you up.
Yeah, I turned my phone off, but
there you go.
Look at that.
That looks
It's
so
delicious.
Good.
All that goat's cheese is brown and bubbly. I've taken the edge off. It doesn't ever stick. I'll cut a slice and put it on a plate so everyone can see it, because my son's been patiently waiting for food.
Brooke, can we swap that for a feta cheese or for a lactose-free cheese if we wanted to?
Definitely. You could even leave the cheese off. It does have cream in it, but lots of people that, I think goat's cheese is okay for a lot of people with dairy issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. And same, I had another customer that said she couldn't have mushrooms. I thought like roast sweet potato or zucchini, anything. Delicious.
Yum. Now, my salmon, it's cooking really, really nicely in here. So what I'm going to do is just keep on going with this. I'm going to add in my 150 grams here. I might see how I go. I may turn those fillets. I'll see how they cook after this steam. Sometimes your chicken is better if it gets turned. Actually, where are my tongs? I will give it a little turn now. Only because it is chicken and not actually salmon. Your salmon tends to cook that little bit quicker and easier. We all know that we don't want raw chicken. So I'm just going to flip that fillet over. They're actually cooking really, really well. Add the rest of this bok choy into the bottom. This does make lots and lots and lots. And I'm just going to flip this over too. I've got plenty of sauce on there. That flavour is going to stay. That's just going to ensure that my chicken does get to cook all the way through. So don't be afraid to do this when you are cooking in your varoma. Check your meat, double check it, flip it, cut it, cook so that you feel comfortable. All right, and then we're going to, the other thing you can do is just begin with really hot water. If you have got a kettle or a hot tap, you can just be pulling that initial 500 grams to go in here of really hot water. That helps it hit that steaming temperature a little bit quicker too. Got 5 minutes left there. I'm going to be super, super close to the hour mark. I'm just running a little bit over. But have a look at Brooke's quiche. That looks so good. We have it. I think you're on mute, Brooke.
Sorry, Jo. I said my taste test has arrived, but he said I'm not doing it on screen. he might yell out and say if it's good. Hot. He's put a huge mouthful in, knowing that it's super hot. But I love this one because it always works. The pastry doesn't all fall apart, and it's super quick. I think what
Brooke,
collection was that in? Yep.
There was just a question of what size tin did you use?
I used. Could you get me a measuring?
Have you got a thermo mat or an oven mat?
Yes.
I love doing this with my oven mat or thermo mat, and you can just measure everything with it. It's the best thing ever.
You know when I got this, Jo? Just yesterday.
Woohoo! Doesn't it look good? That's
see.
your consultant perks right there.
It's about 23 centimeters.
Beautiful. Brooke and myself, we earned some rose gold baking trays, oven liners, a beautiful new grazing box, a kitchen toolkit, a whole big box full of Mix Shop order items arrived. And they are just a little thank you bonus for our last month. So every month, as we work with Thermomix, we obviously have like a commission scheme. So that's how we get paid. And then we also have little extra incentives. And sometimes they're little things like, you know, oven trays and Mix Shop items. Sometimes they're really cool things like a black Thermomix, which we actually both have got this year as well.
That was pretty special, getting a free Thermomix.
It was. So that's all on top of our usual commission. So if the business side of things, the consultant side of things is something that you're interested in at all, even if you just want to know what all the details are, and we'd love to have a chat with you. So please talk to your consultant, or come and ask Brooke and myself. I'll put something into the chat box now and we can have a talk with you. Just let you know what the details are and what the whole goal is, what's involved and all of that sort of stuff. It is a pretty cool job though to be at home and doing this sort of thing, still getting, you know, our incentives and our commission and all of that sort of stuff is really, really cool. Going out with cooking with people is a pretty special thing to do for a job, I reckon.
Jo, did you want to see, I've always been a bit scared of making meringue. They've never worked for me, but I followed a cookie dough recipe exactly, and it worked when I followed the recipe. Look at my meringues, chocolate meringues. Delicious.
Chocolate meringues, that sounds so good.
I hate wasting egg white when I have it left, so I thought I'm going to try it.
I love it. Now, really quickly, because we are just going on an hour and I didn't want to keep you guys on here for long, I'm really quickly going to just jump into Cookie Dough and quickly show you these filters. I won't go through everything, but just to give you an idea of what you can do and how you can play around with all of that yourself. This will just help you find your recipes a little bit easier. All right, can you guys see my Cookie Dough screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can.
Yes, we can see it, Jo.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Judy. So when you are searching in Cookie Dough, little retry, you've got your filters up here. So some of you guys might have used these. Some of you may have no idea what these are for. So when it comes to looking for, let's have a look for quick midweek meals. Filter this out for what suits you. If your family doesn't like soups, don't click soups. If your family is low carb and you don't want pasta and rice dishes, don't click them. If you do want those, tick them all. But go through here and tick what suits you. So let's go main dishes meat, main dishes fish, main dishes vegetarian. Just with these three here, you can see that little writing there. You might not be able to see great on your screen, but 3 things selected with over 2,550 results. So much here already. Now, I'm just going to leave those 3 there. If you have ingredients in your cupboard that need using, or like, you know, that baby spinach in your fridge, it's going a bit manky, you can pop those things in here. Just type in the ingredient and you'll see you can select it there. So for instance, a garlic clove, or maybe even without something. So actually minusing that sea salt off if you're someone who can't have something or you don't have something there as well. So you can use those ingredients filters. They're really handy. You can tag it. So this is a great place to tag things like, you can see some of those examples there. Also a really good place to tag like gluten-free or nut-free or anything like that. And then if we get rid of the tags, here you've got your difficulty. If you know your kids are cooking with you one night, you might want to select easy things. But this is what's going to help you find those midweek dinners less than or up to 15-minute prep time. I want as little prep time as possible. So I'm going to go for less than 15-minute prep time. Total time under half an hour. Does that sound good? for a meal at nighttime, less than 15 minutes before you've got it like cooking, and under half an hour altogether. I reckon that sounds pretty good. I'm going to go show results. And look at some of these recipes. I want you to put a number 1 in a chat box. I'll have a look at these in a minute. Number 1 in the chat box, if you see anything here that you would try or you'd like to have another look at. Remembering that we have not ticked pasta or rice dishes. So these should generally all be pretty low carb, healthy sort of recipes. So this is just one way to use that those little filters. From here, you could create your own folders or do anything like that as well. But that's just one way to use them, to be a little bit more helpful so that you can find those things. And then you can just create your own collection and put 20 of these quick meals in there. When it comes to that, week and going, oh, what are we going to have for dinner? Just jump into that folder and select 4 or 5 meals, put them into your shopping list. And that's your meal planning done for the week. Not having to worry about this sort of stuff. Or use that ingredients tab when it comes to searching to just use stuff that you've already got in the cupboard, so you're not having to go looking for things either. One. I can see a few in there. That's fantastic. Cool. So lots of people saw things even from that. Do you have to change those filters? Yeah. So you reset those filters every time. They don't remain the same. All right. I'm just going to stop and let this cool down now. And let's have a look. Now, I've just got out a plate because I think this one will look really good to actually pop out. And I wanted to do the rice with it. So if you're a low carb family, or if you yourself are low carb, or maybe you have someone in your family who is, but the rest of you like carbs, or you just want to bulk this out and feed more, this is where this rice, oh dear, we dropped you. This is where this rice really comes in handy because it doesn't take your Thermomix up. You don't have to have a pot boiling, but it will just cook itself. So I'm going to take some of this rice. You can see this is just beautiful texture. Beautiful fluffy rice. And we go next up here. We're going to serve this now. So drizzling the remaining ginger over. Serve the salmon with the greens, sprinkle the cashews over, and then serve it immediately. So that chicken, it looks cooked perfect. I'll double check it, but it looks like it is very well cooked. The aroma is so powerful. So once it gets heated up and full of steam, can't get a piece in half. Yeah, that's beautifully cooked all the way through. It really doesn't take very long for it to heat up. So let's go with a couple of greens on the bottom. We'll plate this up and then we'll finish yours guys up. Couple of greens on the bottom. Of course, you can do this with or without the rice. That's totally optional. You've got your courgettes or your zucchini. I reckon a little bit of red capsicum in here would just be beautiful, and it would give it a nice little pop of color as well. So that's something that you might want to do. Or any other vegetables, even some slices of carrots. But if you're looking for just a greens, meat and rice, this is such a good healthy meal. I'm going to get one of these pieces that looks like a nice fillet, this bit here. And I'll lay that, oh dear, across the top.
Salmon's a bit pale today.
A little bit, isn't it? We're going to give this a little sprinkle of cashews across the top. Oh, doesn't that look good? And then a little bit more of this ginger seed, and you can see there's still lots of that in there. So I'm going to give this a nice little sprinkling over the top. What do you reckon? Pretty cool, I reckon, to whip that up in less than half an hour. And it looks like something that you get in a restaurant. You'd pay $25, $30 for this if you went out. You can do it with your chicken, you can do it with your salmon, but I reckon it is pretty cool. All done quick. It's obviously really healthy. You could stack way more veggies under that and leave out the rice, but a pretty cool quick dish. Those flavors, I wish you guys could see them, but those beautiful flavors are coming through. Remember, you can tweak them all to suit you. You could pop some fresh chilies over the top of it or anything like that. But that is the basics. That is 3 quick dinners you guys have seen. We've just gone over an hour, but 3 quick dinners, a quick little run through of Cookie Do and how you can find these for yourself. I would love to know if this has been helpful. I would love for you guys to pop into the chat box if you would try this dish. Lots of you said you would try the other 2, so that's good. But was this helpful? Has this given you some inspiration? That's what we wanted to do, was give you guys some inspiration, some nice quick dinners that you might go and try yourself. Beautiful. That's great to hear. Awesome. Well, I want to say a really, really big thank you to Brooke for jumping on and cooking with us tonight. I'm so stoked that all of you guys jumped on. 30 of you on is so exciting on Zoom. I hope some of you guys are perhaps getting your second bowl out of tonight. It was a way for you to get yourself that host reward, or maybe your thermo servers or the mats, whatever you are after. And if any of you are interested in consulting or what we do, or you'd like to have a crack of being on Zoom yourself, please have a chat with us, because we'd really like to know, or go and talk to your consultant and find out a little bit more about it. But a big thank you for jumping on and watching us. A big thanks to Rochelle. She's in control of the recording as well. So thank you so much for doing that over there. And that is a wrap up for our quick midweek dinner Zoom. I hope you guys
Thanks,
enjoyed
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.